consistency is going to be key at the end of the day, isn't it? As we're now underway with the formation lap. This will be interesting to see how they're going to take the formation lap. Are they going to drive, you know, slowly, warm up the tyres? Or are they just going to bomb it and try and overtake each other? That's what was going to be interesting to see. This is a warm-up to the race, I suppose, as we're currently watching Formula Daniel Beresne, currently leading the pack at the moment. Simon Weigang, of course, is in second. We'll run you through the whole grid now because we didn't get to see it earlier. So Jana Watmer is in third with Hypers Tomek in P4. Tom97, the first of the content creators, starts in P5 with Tyrell Limitless just behind him in 6th, of course, ex-League racer and also ex-F1 Esports driver, so good showing there for Limitless. James Baldwin, world's fastest gamer, lines up in 7th just behind Limitless, and then you've got Tiem Marduk, the first of the bigger content creators, lining up in P8. Stoffel Van Dorn, first of the real-life drivers, he qualified in P9, great showing there for the Mercedes EQ driver. Aarava TV qualifies in P10, so just scraping into the top 10. Can he hold on to it? We're just going to have to wait and see, aren't we? Louis Delatraz in P11 with AR12 Gaming in P12. Jimmy Broadbent, not a good showing, but of course F1 2019 is not his game, but it'll be interesting to see how he can make himself up through the field starting in P13. Then we've got Thibaut Courtois, of course, the Real Madrid goalkeeper, qualifying in P14 in the Racing Point. Sasha is in P15 with Ryan DeVita in 16th. Then we have WillNE. A lot of you guys cheering on for WillNE. He is down in P17. It'll be interesting to see what he can do for this race. Will he keep it clean, or will there be an incident at the start for him? Only time will tell. Super GT qualified down in P18. Not a good qualifying session for him, and he would certainly be looking to work his way up through the field as Lando Norris is down in P19, starting from the back, doing a last question mark challenge as Ben flies out of nowhere, completely not in the correct grid slot there. Esteban Gutierrez had technical issues, unfortunately, in the qualifying session, and he will start in P20 as it looks like we are going to get underway for the Not the Oz GP. Are you guys ready for this exciting race? We've got F1 drivers, ex-F1 drivers, real-life racers, content creators, and the lights are coming on now. We go to 4, 5, red light, and it is lights out, and we are stuck on the grid. I don't really know what's going on there. And away we go. Okay, that was a really weird glitch. Lights went out and everybody just stopped going, but we're underway as it looks like it's free wide down towards turn 1. We've got the Alfa Romeo of Daniel Beresne just about getting past the two Renaults, and Simon Weigand's been caught up in an instant there as he's dropped way down to the field. So is Aarav as he's down in towards 20. Not good start for Simon Weigand, but Jana Watmer gaining a position. Oh, there's a Williams round as well. Who is that? That is Tom97, after having such a good qualifying session, is now down into P8. I hope for him that he has not got damage, because that's really going to hurt his race. Stoffel Van Dorn, though, has had an absolute fly, and so is Louis Delatraz. Louis Delatraz now up into 6th place as Van Dorn slots in. Louis Delatraz is in 6th. Stoffel Van Dorn slots into 5th. Tyrell Limitless has dropped down. Thibaut Marduk has sort of stayed in position. Esteban Gutierrez with a great start from the back of the grid, moving up into P14, now battling with Thibaut Courtois as Lando Norris is down in 16th still, but making his way up through the grid. But that was a sensational start from the two Renaults, getting side by side with the Williams driver. Stoffel Van Dorn goes round. There's contract between him and Louis Delatraz. Van Dorn is round. I think he's still in the race as there's a Toro Rosso spinning as well. There is an almighty amount of carnage going on in the opening couple of laps of this race. It's just the first lap. It's not even on lap 2 at the moment, and everybody is going round. What is going on, Matthew Gallagher?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a little bit delayed, so I apologise to any viewers where if I'm not responding, if something happens. I'm actually watching the YouTube because something went down. But yeah, the Delatraz move on Stoffel Van Dorn was audacious, to say the least. What a crazy move to try and go through that fast left-right-hander, and it's completely ruined Van Dorn's race after an amazing start.
Well, unlike real life, of course, you don't have to worry about actually hurting yourself in these. You can go for those moves and you just know that your car may get damaged in it and you may be out of the race, but at least you're not going to hurt yourself. So I suppose you do have a little bit more bravery if you are a real life racer. Delatraz has now been overtaken by Tyrell Limitless and moves down into P6. I'm not too sure whether Delatraz got a penalty or any sort of damage from that. It'd be interesting to see as the race goes on, as Formula Danny still holds the lead, but he is only 6/10 ahead of Jana Watmer. Of course, DRS is not available at the moment. That will come on the next lap, and then maybe Jano can go for a fight with Danny Beresne. Hypers as well, definitely staying in the mix. We've got the yellow flag out in Sector 2 at the moment, but it doesn't really look like anybody's stopped on the track, so I'm not really too sure what that is for at the moment. But it's interesting to see, actually, if you look on the left-hand side of your screens, the tyre strategies, everybody's starting on the softs, apart from Lando Norris. It looks like there's a Ferrari in the wall, and that's AR12 Gaming. Very lucky for him not to be out of the race. It looks like it's just out of the fast left-right chicane, so maybe he's dropped it on the curbs. The curbs are very tricky there, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I've just seen the Ferrari in the wall. That's that fast left-right is so difficult to manage, just purely because you think you can take it flat, but then if you just get on the curb a little bit too much, or especially on the outside curb, the car just unsettles, and you think, oh, I'm in an F1 car, it will stick, but it doesn't. And then you fly into the wall, and you look like an amateur, which is unfortunately what's happened there. But you know, they're very much on the limit at the moment, which maybe they just need to rein it in, like I said at the beginning of the race.
Maybe they do, but I feel like these guys at the front aren't going to be doing that. You've got Danny with Jarno Opmeer breathing down his neck at the moment. And you've also got Hypers very close, just sort of watching this battle in the Red Bull, sort of waiting to see what's going to go on between Jarno Opmeer and Formula Danny, and see whether he can pick up any of the pieces there. James Baldwin a further 2 seconds behind at the moment after 2 laps of this race. We have a nice little shot there through the fast left-right chicane. Of course, ART getting that all wrong. Those curves around that corner just like to, you know, chew you up and spit you back out again. As I was talking before that crash, though, Lando Norris starting on the medium tyres. So going for that different strategy call compared to everyone else. It looks like we've got a Haas in the barrier as well. So I think that is Louis Delatraz who's gone down, or maybe it's Ryan Tavita, who's actually had a great start moving up into P8. Lando Norris actually up into P9. So the different tyre strategy could be going well for him. What do you think, Matt? Starting on the mediums, definitely a good call?
Well, he's the only one on the alternate strategy, so fair play to him going for it. And I'm surprised there hasn't been a few others that have tried it on the mediums as well. But clearly, you know, he's going to be going longer into this race. Be going maybe, well, I imagine 17, 18 laps. He actually said to me before the race to join his Twitch. Not his Twitch stream, sorry, his Discord server, and be his pit engineer. So to tell him when to box and to be Jarv, but unfortunately I can't do that as I'm commentating. But yeah, Lando definitely going to go longer into this race. He's just hoping that people that are all on the same strategy, that they keep, they're crashing into each other, just holding each other up. Whereas Lando, you know, he just wants to be in a race of his own, just chill out front. He'll be leading the race at some point, unless he loses too much time to Danny that he has a free pit stop. But yeah, interesting to see it from Lando. That F1 mind, you know, he's got it switched on at all times, even when it's not a Formula 1 weekend.
Well, if you disappear from the commentary at any sort of time, we know where you're going to. You're going to tell Lando to come into the box. It's interesting to see as well, WillNE doing a pretty good job, actually. He's in P11 at the moment. He's holding his own. Okay, he's just dropped down into P12 as Louis Delatraz has overtaken him. Brave again through the left-right chicane. Louis Delatraz just doesn't have any fear going for the overtake into that corner. And actually, WillNE coming back at him there. And he's actually maybe overtaken him as Lando Norris has just overtaken Ryan Tavita. But WillNE overtaking Louis Delatraz there. Sorry, my bad. I'm watching Lando Norris. I'm watching the wrong person. We're actually watching Lando Norris. As I think WillNE might have had a problem because he was running up into a good position and now he's dropped down. So maybe he's had an incident with Louis Delatraz as Ryan Tavita goes up the inside down towards turn 1, but Lando gives him space. He knows that this is a long game. Ryan not good on the exit. There's contact between the two of them. Ryan goes round and Lando Norris gets away with it. A little bit of contact between the two of them. I think just didn't go into one on the exit of turn 1 and into turn 2. And unfortunately for Ryan Tavita, that has sent him round. And Lando Norris now moves up into 8th place. But he's got Simon Weigang closing in on him at the moment. So how will he handle an F1 Esports driver? Oh, there's a huge shunt there. Aarav has gone round. That's Louis Delatraz, Simon Weigang. Everybody getting caught up through the fast left-hand, right-hander. What on earth has gone on there? Wow, that is incredible stuff. What has gone on? Aarav has been involved. You've had Louis Delatraz, Simon Weigang. I don't know who else. Sasha as well. And the Williams has definitely been caught up as he's round again. Aarav is round again. Aarav is not putting on a good show for himself, showing his skills against some of the best in the world and also real race drivers. Unfortunately for Aarav, both Ferraris now down the back of the field. it's going to be a miracle for those two to get back into it. So there's a yellow flag out again. Not too sure if there's any problems. I don't think so, but very unfortunate for Aarav. Unfortunately, we don't have replays to show you, but it'd be interesting to see later on actually what went on between those guys. But people who gained from it though, Super GT up into P9 as we've got a Mercedes of Esteban Gutierrez going side by side with Simon Weigang. So Weigang trying to get himself back into the race here. Esteban Gutierrez unfortunately just going to have to yield that as Weigang is now into the pits, the first of the drivers to come into the pits. I'm guessing that's for a new front wing as he gets as AR12 Gaming gets a penalty. Simon Weigang also gets a penalty for speeding into the pit lane, so that's going to be very, very frustrating there for Weigang. We're now watching Super GT go on the attack of Thibaut Courtois. Maybe Thibaut Courtois just got past him. Super GT not able to go for a move there down in towards turn 3. And Thibaut Courtois, the Real Madrid driver, Real Madrid goalkeeper, has now moved up into the points. He's up into P9.
Real Madrid driver, have we got a new Formula 1 team?
We have. Real Madrid Esports coming at you.
Yeah, but just going back to the incident that occurred, and then everyone's spinning and then spinning again. The problem with this is that, you know, if you're in an incident and you've spun up the rears and you've got so much heat in them that they're red, you know, they'll come up on the HUD as it's known, and it'll tell you that there's far too much heat in the tyres and you just lose all grips. So Aarav just took too much speed into the next corner, spun round again, and it's just a complete passenger at that stage. So unfortunate to see so many crashes, but as I mentioned before this race started, there is quite a skill gap between the top and the bottom. But you know, if you just stay out of danger like Super GT has, he's up in 10th, he's in the points, and that's what you got to do in this kind of environment, which is different. You know, these aren't all, you know, expert sim racers that are on it all the time, but that's what's so special about it, is that we've got such an array of content creators, Formula 1 drivers, celebrities. You know, there's loads of people in there, and it's great to see that they're all going wheel to wheel and not scared, especially Louis Delatraz. My days, that man is a man possessed.
He has the biggest kahunas of anyone in this lobby at the moment. He will go for any sort of move, and he does not care whether he comes out worse at the end of it or whether someone else does. Someone else to mention who has also gained really quite a lot from just keeping it clean and keeping out trouble. Lando Norris, of course, started at the back of the grid with the disqualification for having a bit of trouble in the pit lane, as we're now watching Yana Watmir went a little bit wide there through the left-right chicane. They're coming up to, I believe that is Aarav, or maybe it's AR12 Gaming who is getting lapped there. I believe it is him. He's getting way out of the way and actually going off the track. I'm not too sure whether he's having issues, whether he's got front wing damage again, or a problem for him. We're currently on board with Tiamat Mardik, who's going on the attack of TRL Limitless. This is going to get tasty. Two people that you know very well. Who do you fancy in this battle?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there. That's. I mean, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's difficult to say. They're very closely matched in pace, so you just got to make sure that. Okay, one of them don't into the pits anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They're into the pits anyway. Limitless comes into the pits. He maybe sees that Ben is a little bit quicker than him at that stage. Maybe Limitless had damage, and that's why he needed to come into the pits. Ben was
I think he definitely had damage if Ben's quicker than him.
I love that, throwing the shade at Ben. Absolutely brilliant. And what we love to see here is Thibaut Courtois moves up into 8th after the Limitless whereabouts he's going to come out. He's going on to the harder tyres. So as Hypers has comes into the pits as well. So he was in the podium position in P3. He's going on to the hards as well, going for the undercut. I'm not too sure whether this yellow flag that keeps popping up is actually for a reason. I think that's just people coming into the pit lane, as it looks like a Mercedes. That's Stoffel van Dorn, who also comes into the pit lane. And I feel like a lot of drivers are going to be coming in for the hard tyres at the moment, but will we see anybody sort of try and stick it out for the mediums and go a little bit later? Of course, Lando Norris will be going for that strategy, I suppose, holding out on the mediums, then coming out on the softs later on in the race. But a lot of split strategies, I suppose, and it's good to see. It's good to see the split strategies and a lot of exciting. So we just don't know who's going to come out on top, do we?
I mean, when you say it's probably not the most split strategy race, because I think these guys will be coming into the pits in the next lap or two. In terms of the differences in laps, it'll show towards the end of the race. The guys that have, maybe Simon Weigang, who pitted 2 laps ago, when we get to lap 29, and he's still on those same set of tyres, he will be struggling a lot. But I think a lot of these guys will be coming in for the hards. But yeah, as you say, there might be a few that try and push it for the mediums. I think that's maybe what Lando's trying to do. But the problem is, if he goes too far on the mediums, but not far enough that he can make the softs work at the end, he is absolutely screwed. You know, he'll be just kind of skating around. His tyres will be completely gone. And then he will have kind of missed that window where going onto the hards earlier would have been quicker. So I don't think Lando's done enough practice to know which one's better. So he's kind of just throwing the dice a little bit. But yeah, it'll be exciting to see as he's up into P3 at the moment. I don't think for long though.
It would be interesting to see whether Lando can make that last. A couple of drivers coming into the pits whilst you were talking there. So we had Jarno Opmeer and Hypers obviously came into the pits the lap before. So Jarno Opmeer had to sort of defend against that. And it was very close between the two of them. Hypers actually was about 1/10 separating the two drivers as they came out. Baldwin also coming into the pits, as well as Tom97. Limitless really losing out, so definitely had front wing damage as he's way down in 11th as Tom, who was ahead of him before the pit stop phase, is still in P7. So that'll be interesting to see. Team at Marduk holding out at the moment, so he's maybe odds we see a big corner cut there from Hypers. That's definitely got to be a warning. Really taking track limits to a new level. Is that something, maybe he's learned from you, Matt? Did you ever use to corner cut back in your day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, especially if people weren't watching. I mean, I'd be all over that. You got to push the rules to the absolute limits, just like the drivers do. And if you're not going to get penalised for it, then go for it. But if you are going to get penalised for it, then obviously I'd rein it back in a little bit. But these guys are trying to make as many gains as possible. I mean, Lando before the race started, he was speaking to me, speaking to us in the chat, going, "So how many warnings can I get before I get a penalty, and how many warnings can I do on my qualifying lap?" So yeah, he's trying to get the smallest of margins of gains that he possibly can.
Well, he's getting more than the smallest margins of gains. He's actually going wheel-to-wheel with Team at Marduk on a different tyre strategy at the moment. Jimmy Broadbent getting a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane as Ben is now defending from Lando. He goes up the inside and Norris has got the job done on Team at Marduk. Formula Danny came into the pits there. So he came out just ahead of this battle, and that's going to really affect Jarno Opmeer because he's going to get held up by not only Team at Marduk but also Lando Norris, who is going longer into this race, as well as Hypers. But I suppose maybe his teammate will let him through, but I'm not sure. I feel like this is just a free-for-all. Team orders do not come into play here today as Jarno Opmeer goes up the inside in towards the left-right chicane. Very brave move there from Jarno Opmeer, and maybe Ben is going to let through Hypers. Here he goes, Hypers up the inside, down towards the right-hander. Ben still not letting him through, trying to hold on, but unfortunately for Team at Marduk, he has to let Hypers back through as we're getting a bit of latency issues there. Ben, you're not in Australia. Why are you having latency issues? Seems to just always be a problem for Team at Marduk. But now Jarno Opmeer, he needs to get past Lando Norris as quickly as he can if he wants any hope of trying to catch up to Formula Danny. Lando Norris doesn't really look like he's defending too much to go down in towards turn 1. And yes, Norris knows that he cannot win that battle. He needs to take these tyres as long as he possibly can. And there is no point trying to fight with Jarno Opmeer at the moment. But he is going to tuck into that slipstream and maybe just put himself along and get a little bit quicker, especially around the guys that he is fighting with. Louis Delatraz gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So just pushing this game as much as he possibly can. Unfortunately, pushing it a little bit too far there, as it looks like Hypers is now right on the tail of Lando Norris. Can he get the job done? Here we go, Hypers in towards the right, the long right, and then in towards the chicane. He is going to get the inside line, as we've got a terrible camera angle, but Hypers shooting up the inside there, getting the job done. A fantastic move from Veloce Hypers, and he moves up past Lando Norris. But Norris going to have a look again. Here he goes in towards the left-right chicane. Is he going to go for it? Is he going to fight with Hypers round the outside? He definitely has a little look, and he's just tucking up right into the slipstream of Hypers now. Into the DRS they go, and Lando Norris gets back past. He's back past Hypers on a different tyre strategy. So, of course, those mediums have gone a long way. Yes, Hypers is on the hardest compound, so his tyres haven't got as much grip, but I suppose there's probably even Stevens maybe between the two of them, because Lando has been on those tyres for 10 laps now. So they are starting to come near the end of their life cycle, but he's definitely going to try and push them as much as he possibly can. Of course, we've got 17 laps left to go in this race. Hypers now going side by side with Lando once again and making it look very easy on the start-finish straight, moving up in towards P4 as James Baldwin now looks to rein in this group and go for the overtake. What a battle that was, Matthew Gallagher.
Yeah, that took far too long for Tomek to really get past there. I think that these guys are definitely just milking the fact that they're racing Lando Norris, if I'm being completely honest. You've heard it here first. I guarantee that Tiamat Marduk stayed out that extra lap so that he could go side by side and make a YouTube video that says, I raced wheel to wheel with Lando Norris. You wait. That is going to be a video. But either way, great to see the side by side action, and no one faced the other way or in the wall. So Lando, I don't think, really wanted to fight it anyway. It was just that Tomek kept messing up his exit, or maybe he's just enjoying it, as I say. But Lando's very much in tyre conservation mode at the moment and kind of just wants everyone to to go past him, and then he can do his pits and then come out with fresher tyres.
Yes, indeed. As we're watching James Baldwin now get the job done on Lando Norris. Will he have the same issue that Hyper's had, that Tomek had, of getting past him? Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. It looks like Lando Norris maybe a little bit too far back, but closing him in the DRS zone, but not able to get the job done. Little lock up there from James Baldwin, but it doesn't look like it's going to affect him. It's interesting to see, actually, that James Baldwin went for the medium tyres. So is he going to be going for that two-stop strategy, or does he believe that he can take these mediums all the way to the end? Because everyone else seems to be going to the end of the race. But James Baldwin is the only one. As Lando Norris now comes into the pits for the first time in this race, as he will be going. It'll be interesting to see what tyres Lando goes for. Will he be going for the hards all the way to the end of the race, or will he be going onto the mediums? He is onto the hards. Okay, you correct there, Matt. You know your stuff. This is why we bring you in as the technical analysis. You know your stuff.
I mean, if he'd gone on another set of mediums, he would have been screwed, because two stops I don't think is the quickest way, especially when the field is maybe not so consistent. You just need to have that one stop, get out there, set out some consistent lap times, and Lando comes out in 8th, so not too bad for him. Esteban Gutierrez from the back of the field in 9th, so there are quite a few standout performances here, and WillNE is not last.
WillNE is not last, and that is what matters. He's ahead of Aarava, but I'm not too sure how long for. Whether those two are having their own little battle at the back of the field at the moment, as we've got Sasha going off the track as well. So this is a little tasty battle, isn't it? Of course, Sasha, WillNE, and Aarava TV all going will to will at this Australian Grand Prix, or not the Oz Grand Prix, as we like to call it. But here we go. WillNE, can I get the job done? If WillNE can make an overtake, then everybody is going to go wild. This is what we want to see. WillNE on a 2019 Japanese F3 champion. Go on, Will. Go for the overtake. Just go for it. Up the inside. He's gone for it. Up the inside. Very late on the brakes as well. Unfortunately, just a little bit too late. And that is him out of that battle for now. It's going to be the turn of Aarava to see whether he can get past the 2019 Japanese F3 champion. Unfortunately, to be fair, I give it to Will. He went for it. He went for the move. There was no real need to go for it on that lap. Maybe he could have tried it in a couple of laps' time, but I salute that. That is a great attempt from WillNE. Unfortunately, just could not pull it off. But brilliant there from Will.
I don't know if he's actually watching the stream or not. I reckon he actually is, because I mentioned him beforehand. He's like, "Oh, be kind to me in the broadcast." I said, "Of course, And I said, if you go for a move, even if you're a lap down, I will absolutely celebrate it. I did say he had to make it stick, though. And he stuck it in the gravel, but not quite the move there, unfortunately, for Will. But still ahead of AR12 Gaming.
Still ahead of AR12 Gaming. It would be interesting to see whether those two have a battle later on away, or maybe even Will can claw Aarav back in. That would be very embarrassing for Aarav. You could go from a thumbnail and a title of racing with Lando Norris to racing and getting beaten by WillNE. Just need to post the Nico Rosberg clip with the exposure behind, say, is Aarav's career over? I mean, YouTube might be happy to delete his channel once again. But let's look at what else is going on throughout the field. So we've got Simon Weigang currently going with a little bit of a battle with Esteban Gutierrez. So Gutierrez holding on very, very nicely. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, started from the back of the grid. Simon Weigang started from the front row of the grid in P2. Unfortunately, had that collision on the very first lap with Formula Danny and his teammate going 3 wide down towards turn 1. Really cost him in the race, as he is now trying to work his way back through the field. He's had so many incidents. He just hasn't been able to have a clean race, but he is trying to claw back Esteban Gutierrez. But Gutierrez doing a stellar job at the moment, holding on to his position. It is interesting to see, though, that they are on different tyre strategies. Simon Weigang on the hards, 8 laps old, whereas Esteban Gutierrez is on fresher and also softer tyres. So he definitely has that advantage, as Aarav gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So, Aarav up to his old tricks, cutting lots of corners. It's not new to see, of course, as Simon Weigang so close to the back of Esteban Gutierrez there. And this looks like, unfortunately, this is the only battle going on track at the moment, but it'd be interesting to see what Lando Norris can do. Or there's contact there between Simon Weigang and Esteban Gutierrez. Not really too sure what Weigang is doing, and maybe he's just waiting for Gutierrez. Yes, good sport there. Good sportsman from Simon Weigang. Unfortunately, a little bit of an issue for him. Maybe just got a little bit too hot there going into the back of Esteban Gutierrez. But very nice to see that he waited up for him and allowed Esteban to have that position. But that has allowed Thibaut Courtois to catch up to these guys. So he's running in P11. He'll be looking to get into the points in today's race. And also Super GT is right behind this battle. So I was saying this was the only battle out on track. But now it's a 4-way battle for ninth and 10th position. So the last two remaining points positions of this race. It's also interesting to see. You've got James Baldwin catching up to Hypers. Of course, they are on different strategies, and I feel like James is going to have to go for that second pit stop. But Simon Weigang on Esteban Gutierrez. Here he goes around the outside, down in towards this corner after DRS strain. It looks like he's going to get the job done. Yes, he is, of course, an F1 Esports driver up against a real-life race. Unfortunately, the F1 Esports driver is always going to have the edge there with all the practice and all the hours that he has put into the game. And can Esteban Gutierrez hold off against the Real Madrid keeper? What do you think, Matt? Can Thibaut Courtois get into the points today?
Yeah, he has the pace. We've seen this coming up to this, not the Oz GP, and he's been really quick. Maybe not been as quick as we were hoping, but he's right on the outskirts of the top 10. And Simon Weigang's done us a serious favour by punting Esteban Gutierrez off. So we've now got a four-way battle, although Super GT's fallen away a little bit. I was just looking at the battle for the lead as well, and there isn't really one. Danny Berezne is very much checked out at the front, 6 seconds ahead of Jarno Opmeer.
He got very lucky when with Thibaut Marduk and Lando Norris holding up Jarno Opmeer and Hypers, but we've got a nice battle here as James Baldwin goes up against Hypers. It's 4 tenths, 2 tenths is the gap at the moment as they're going down in towards turn 1. James just holding off at the moment. He's being smart, he's being clever. He knows that he will get DRS once again down this straight, and he is going to make his move, most likely down in towards turn 3. Of course, he is on the softer compound of tyres. Does he go for it? No. Again, waiting for another lap. James Baldwin not brave enough. He doesn't feel like he has the potential to get the job done if he goes for it. He's maybe seen what WillNE's been doing out on track and doesn't want to replicate that. But James Baldwin still following behind Hypers at the moment, but he needs to get the job done as soon as possible if he is coming in for another pit stop, which I believe he should be, because there is no way that he will be able to take those mediums till the end.
Yeah, 20 laps on the mediums is pretty much impossible. So he, as you say, he has to make the move as soon as possible so that he can stretch the gap and then come back at him again with the softs at the end. So he's going to be pretty disappointed with himself that he can't get past Tomek. He's not going to be fair, the amount of moves we've seen into the front left.
He's just got a 3-second time penalty. That's got to be annoying. But Hypers also has a 3-second time penalty, so they're both even Stevens now in this battle.
He's evened it out. he's making it a level playing field.
Exactly. Just like Simon Weigang let Esteban Gutierrez back through, James has been like, do you know what, I'll get myself a penalty and we can have a fair race all the way to the end.
To be fair, Jeff, the team radio, will actually tell him that the car ahead has a penalty, so maybe he did. I don't think he did, because these are all racers and they're very competitive and they want to win, but maybe.
It's interesting to see that Tom 97 still holding on to that 5th position. Of course, he had a great qualifying, moving himself up into 4th, dropping down past James Baldwin and Hypers, but still holding on to P5 and ahead of Limitless, quite a bit ahead of Limitless as well, 8 seconds at the moment, as Baldwin still can't get the job done on Veloce Hypers. Really difficult out there, which is quite surprising seeing as he is on the softer tyres, but maybe those medium tyres are coming to the end. I think Lando did 11 laps on those medium tyres, 11 or 12 laps, so maybe it's going to be time for him to come into the pits. He might be feeling that wear at this stage of the race, and maybe his battle is actually going to be with the likes of Tom 97 and Tyrrell Limitless. But if he comes into the pits, I mean, he's going to drop way down. He's going to drop down maybe in towards where Thibaut Marduk and Lando Norris is, or maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get that thumbnail and title for his live stream as well, to say that he went up against Lando Norris. Everybody's trying to work out that strategy to go head to head with Lando Norris, and I mean, you'd definitely do the same, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure. I don't blame Ben at all. I don't blame Ben at all, but I'm sure the F1 fan within himself wants to race Lando anyways, not just for the views, but definitely a majority part of it. I was just looking at down the field as well. Thibaut Courtois, we did mention him, but he will actually gain a couple of positions, I think, as Esteban Gutierrez tyres falls off and he might come into the pits again. You've got Simon Weigang on 12-lap-old hards. I don't think he's going to make it to the end either, and if he does, it's a miracle. So definitely going to see Courtois in the points, potentially Super GT as well. Jimmy Broadbent not too far behind his teammate either. Stoffel Van Dorn, I just saw a minute ago, had a 3-second time penalty come up, so he's been cutting corners as well, taking notes from the F1 content creators. Still very weird, isn't it, to say Stoffel Van Dorn 16th on the F1 game for not
Stoffel
the Oz
Van
GP.
Dorn racing with Lando Norris and Thibaut Courtois and all these other names, Esteban Gutierrez in there, all names that we know from Formula 1 and Real Sports, and it's just like, what on earth has this idea that started on Thursday, Friday night has just turned into this spectacle, which is incredible to see. WillNE still not last, and that's what we love to see as well. Aarav having his own special battle with Sasha down in 17th, so this is an interesting battle between those two at the moment. It looks like James Baldwin struggling to get past Hypers, but Sasha's ghosting at the moment, so I believe that maybe he's running into an issue. Oh no, okay, so they're getting lapped actually by Jarno Opmeer, and the way the game works out now is to stop lap drivers from getting in the way and actually affecting races, which you used to do quite a lot in the past in YouTuber Championship to sort of make them exciting. You can't do that now, so you're going to have to find new ways to do that if you ever bring that championship back on a game instead of karting, aren't you?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for that. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people would love to see it return because it's definitely a fan favourite. I suppose you probably get DMs and tweets every single day asking you to bring that back, as we were watching James Baldwin just drive through WillNE at the moment. Not even drive around him, just straight through WillNE. And as he goes on the hunt for Hypers at the moment. Not really any battles going on apart from Sasha and Aarav. Those two seem to be trading places at the moment in today's race. Sasha, of course, on the mediums, Aarav on 12-lap hard, so whether those two will have to make another pit stop in this race, we'll have to wait and see. 9 laps left to go in this Australian Grand Prix. Simon Weigang 19 seconds behind Lando Norris. Lando Norris looking very comfortable for an 8th position at the moment, but he is only 1.6 seconds behind Thibaut Marduk. Thibaut Marduk is on 9-lap old medium, so the potential is that he's going to have to come into the pit. And you've also got potentially with people with penalties ahead of them. We just don't know how many people have got penalties. I mean, you've seen it, Matt. Lots of people have had penalties throughout this race as Lando makes light work of the track limits there.
Yes, corner cutting is very strict. It is on strict at the moment, so if you go 1-2 millimeters off the track at a certain speed, you will get a warning or a penalty pretty quickly. I think it's 3 warnings and you get a penalty. Some of these guys are taking liberties through that fast left-right, I'm not going to lie. So I'm very surprised that Lando, that we just saw go through, didn't get a penalty there, but maybe he's been quite a good boy up until this point. But yeah, the penalty system is very strict. So, it has to be, especially when we've got F1 Esports. You can't have people taking liberties and gaining time in areas that you shouldn't. So, and we've seen that in the last few years in real life Formula One as well, where they've cracked down on the corner cutting, the track extending, especially at America. You've seen all sorts of things, Verstoppers installed. So it's good to see the F1 gamers aligning themselves with that, because it's frustrating as a gamer if you're putting all the hours in and then you find out a guy's cutting one of the corners by 3 inches and getting an extra 2/10.
Exactly. It's always frustrating to see. Like you say, when someone puts in so many hours, and for someone just to, it is cheating at the end of the day, as James Baldwin completely cuts that corner through. So he's definitely not listening to us on this stream. He's just in a world of his own as he's trying still to get past Hypers, but he dives at the inside, lock up there. Very lucky not to go into the back of Hypers, as there's a yellow flag in sector 3. It looks like a McLaren that is going slowly. Lando Norris, it isn't him. So unfortunately, I believe that is WillNE, unfortunately, having a few issues. But Lando Norris closing in on Thibaut Marduk. Those mediums are starting to drop off, and now Lando Norris is going to go on the hunt of Thibaut Marduk. This could be a very interesting battle, as we're also watching James Baldwin, but now we're flicking back. Here we go, Lando Norris up against Thibaut Marduk, and Ben is going to go for it again. He's going to go for a battle with the F1 driver, as Lando's just reining him in. Or will Ben coming to the pits in the next couple of laps? Is he going to stay out? He stays out for another lap. This is going to be a battle.
Of course he stays out.
Of course he's going to go. He needs that fun, though. He needs that CPM, doesn't he?
Absolutely, of course. Yeah, but why wouldn't you stay out?
Exactly. If you've got someone like Lando Norris hunting down, breathing on your neck, you want to prove yourself against one of the very best. And, an F1 driver, of course, is going to be one of the very best. So Ben is loving this at the moment. We know how much of an F1 fan he is. We know how much he loves anything to do with Formula One. So he must be... His inner fanboy is just oozing out at the moment.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. These are just F1 fans, and they're racing against real-life racing drivers. And Lando Norris, McLaren Formula One driver. So, it still doesn't get old for me that, I've worked in it for a couple of years now, or 3 years now, and it still doesn't get old when you do this sort of stuff. And Ben and Aarav, they're involved with Alfa Romeo, and they spend time with Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi, and these are just they're fanboys but not passionate.
But not passionate. You're the passionate one.
They're not passionate. I'm the passionate one. They're fanboys.
Lando Norris still not able to get the job done on Teammate Marduk at the moment, but he is closing in. The gap is now 6 seconds, so he's definitely going to be within that DRS zone. So, be interesting to see whether Lando can get the job done on this lap. He is closing him in at a rapid rate. He is going to be within DRS, like I said, but he's just lost out a little bit through the final couple of corners there. Ben getting the edge out of the exit and really weaving on the straights, trying to get Lando out of his slipstream as he tries to hold on to 7th place as much as he can. I feel like Ben at this stage, he is going to be going to the end, same as James Baldwin. Both those drivers maybe making a mistake going onto the medium tyres. They should have probably both gone onto the hards and would have had better grip by the end of this race, as Lando really seems to be reining in Ben, mainly through the corners. The straights, Ben seems to have it under control, but through the corners, Lando's definitely getting the better of him. There's a little bit slidey there from Lando through the right-hander, but he's definitely closing in on Teammate Marduk at the moment. Will he get the job done? Maybe in towards the left-right chicane. We've seen lots of moves, surprisingly, in towards that corner, and especially the corner afterwards, because, of course, of the new DRS zone that was added for the 2019 season. Lando Norris could potentially go for a move down there as he's now following behind Teammate Marduk, getting onto the grass. That's probably going to lose you a little bit of time, but he is only 4 tenths behind Teammate Marduk. If he can have a good line through here, he can set himself up very nicely for an overtake in towards this next corner. Here he goes, DRS on Teammate Marduk. Can he get the job done? Not yet. He's just going to have to wait for the next straight, as he's just going to tuck himself now right into the slipstream, right into the rear end of Teammate Marduk. He's just going to have to hope, though, that the dirty air does not unsettle the car, as Simon Vai again gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track warnings. He's trying to close in onto this battle as Lando gets a little bit out of shape there, but he manages to keep it onto the track. He's into the DRS zone now. He's into the slipstream of Teammate Marduk. Is he going to go up the inside in towards turn 1? No, he doesn't. Just like James Baldwin being smart. Wait till turn 3. You've got another DRS zone. You've got another straight. And here goes Lando on the left-hand side. He's going to have to go round the outside of Teammate Marduk. Can he get the job done? Ben getting his elbows out there, squeezing Lando as much as he possibly can. Lando up the inside in towards turn 4, and it looks like he's got the job done, but a little bit wide on exit. Can Ben go around the outside? You have to be very brave to do that. Unfortunately, Ben does not go for it. There's no point ruining the race, but he's still holding on. Ben is not giving up on this battle at the moment, tucking into that slipstream, trying to go around the outside now of Lando Norris. Oh, tucking into the inside. Lando, very defensive. Great reactions there. I mean, that's not surprising. He is a Formula 1 driver. Of course, he's going to have a great reactions. Ben, you're going to have to go back into the book and find another technique to get past Lando there, as it looks like Lando is going to hold on to his position, but Ben will have DRS down this straight. Can he go for the move, maybe around the outside, inside? Who knows what Ben's going to do? Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be close enough, and he isn't late enough on the brakes to go for that move. So Lando holds on to 7th position as we've got a yellow in sector 1. It looks like maybe that was the Haas driver of Ryan Tavita as he's dropped down into P16, but what a battle this is at the moment, Matt.
Yeah, fantastic to see. Ben's still all over the back of him as well, so I think still got a bit of pace in that car, old Ben. I know his tricks, but after watching the onboards, it's definitely not on strict corner cutting. I don't know who told me that.
it is on regular. I didn't know that you said it was on strict. No, it is on regulars. Ben gets back past Lando down towards turn 1, turn 2, so he's really fighting with Lando at the moment. Lando up the inside, very late on the brakes. Can he get it done? A little bit of contact between the two of them. Ben goes into the side. Lando squeezes him out. Gives him a taste of Ben's own medicine. Unfortunately, Ben's going to have to try again. He's going to have to wind that back up. 5 tenths is the gap now between the two of them. So he is not out of it. He is still going to be in that slipstream and in that tow and able to go for the overtake again. There are other battles out on track as it looks like Super GT is catching up to Thibaut Courtois at the moment. So there could potentially be an overtake here for these two guys. We'll have to wait and see whether Teammate Marduk can catch back up to Lando Norris, and be interested to see whether the battle can continue between those two. Up at the front, Formula Danny is leading the way by quite a bit, very comfortably at the moment. As Ben gets a 3-second time penalty there. That is going to be very unfortunate for him. Super GT getting all out of shape, as it looks like Thibaut Courtois has unfortunately lost the back of Esteban Gutierrez. I'm guessing this maybe been an incident for the Real Madrid goalkeeper, as he's currently in P11, and he was right behind Esteban Gutierrez when we last left him, but now he's 8 seconds off the pace. And Super GT now starts to hunt him down. Sasha and Aarav still having their own little battle down for 17th positions. They go side by side through turn 4. Aarav loving this at the moment, barging Sasha out wide. And it looks like Aarav is going to get that position for the time being. Sasha all out of shape, but managing to hold and catch the car, as Super GT does in fact overtake Thibaut Courtois, getting up into P11, and now Courtois is going to have to go for it. Maybe the gloves that he's got on at the moment, the goalkeeper gloves, maybe they're just too sticky.
Absolutely, what great racing. It's brilliant to see these guys getting absolutely stuck in. But yeah, definitely, I'm actually quite surprised with the amount of penalties that are being dished out here, considering it's on regular corner cutting where you literally can take many liberties. So very naughty from Thibaut Marduk getting a 3-second time penalty to probably add to the array that he's already got. But awesome to see these guys. I think they, at this point and stage of the race, especially the more casual ones, they're just getting into the groove. They'll look at the lap counter and go, "Oh, I've got 3 laps to go. That's rubbish. I'm just about getting stuck in now." And yeah, but Aarav absolutely elbows out, showing a real life racing driver exactly what he's made of. And but yeah, bit of a shame that we didn't get a battle for at the front with Danny Beresnay and Jana Watmir, because they're both very closely matched. But you know, that's just the nature of trying to get through some of these back markers.
Unfortunately, yeah, no battle at the front, but we do have a very tasty battle for what is going to be P6. As it looks like, I think Limitless came into the pits and dropped back, or whether, no, he was catching up actually to Thibaut Marduk and Lando Norris. But Lando Norris up into P6, Thibaut Marduk right behind him, 4 tenths behind, and Limitless now coming into this battle as well. So we don't have the battle for the front, but we have some big names going head to head in the final 3 laps of this race. Lando Norris, can he hold off Thibaut Marduk and TRL Limitless? 2 people who have a lot of knowledge of this game. They've spent a lot of hours on F1 2019 and also past games as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this battle unfolds. Looking further down the field, we also have Super GT and Courtois still going head to head. That battle isn't over yet. Of course, Limitless's teammate, Courtois, and then you've got Louis Delatraz right behind Jimmy Broadbent, Stoffel Van Dorn involved in that battle as well, so very close. It's coming towards the end of the race and all these battles that are happening out on track, but this is the main one that we want to see. Thibaut Marduk trying to go onto the attack of Lando Norris, but at the same time also having to defend his position against TRL Limitless, but they both get a 3-second time penalty. Both of them really getting close now to what could be a disqualification, because they both had, I think that's 9 seconds of time penalties, especially Ben, as Lando Norris gets very out of shape. Not too sure whether that was actually him or maybe that was just a glitch from the game, getting his car the back end just a little bit out of shape. But Lando Norris, no, Ben is right on his tail. 5 tenths is the gap between these 2 drivers, as Ben is going to get that DRS wide open and try and get as close as he possibly can down in towards turn 1 and then go for the overtake potentially in towards turn 3, as Thibaut Courtois finally gets his first penalty of the game. I mean, goalkeepers, they don't usually take penalties. They're usually at the far end of taking penalties. So it's no surprise that on lap 28, Thibaut Courtois finally gets to get a penalty of his own. And Stoffel Van Dorn, everyone's getting penalties at this late stage of the race. I suppose the multiple warnings are starting to rack up as we go into the final 2 laps of this race, as Lando Norris still defending from Thibaut Marduk, who's really getting all out of shape there, Ben. Way out of shape.
I think Ben's tyres are very much off the cliff now. He's 17 laps on those mediums and he's just desperately trying to stay up with Lando Norris, but I think that he will unfortunately succumb to TRL Limitless maybe making a move at some point, but he's on 20 lap old hards as well, so all of these guys are struggling. It's just like ice skating, especially through this fast left right where they have been taking liberties. Ben's taking liberties every corner I've seen so far this Grand Prix, and I also wondered how long it would take you to drop some sort of football pun, and it took you 29 laps. So
29 laps to get a Thibaut Courtois joke out. We haven't watched on board, I want to say, when he catches the rear end, losing the back end, what a save, but unfortunately, that just didn't come. I was waiting for it. Thibaut Courtois, you've let us down, as we go on to the final lap now, as we're watching Courtois. He's actually on screen. He's going side by side with Super GT. Gets the move done. He stays ahead as Super GT goes round. Might have been a little bit of contact between the 2 of them there, as it looks like Formula Danny now coming through the last final couple of corners. He got pole position. He led from the start. There was a little bit of an altercation between the 2 Renault drivers as they went 3 wide down in towards turn 1, but he did manage to hold on. He's kept it clean and he comes round the final corner to win not the Oz GP. Daniel Berezne is our race winner here today, as it looks like Jarno Opmeer is going to come across the line in P2, but we don't know with all the penalties that are going on, as Thibaut Courtois gets 5-second time penalty for unserving a penalty, so that must have been for speeding into the pit lane. Hypers comes across the line in third. Will he hold on to that, or will James Baldwin overtake him, as he is quite a bit down the road actually, really dropping off at the end, as we're still watching this battle unfold between Tiamat Marduk and Tyrrell Limitless, as they are going down in towards Limitless off the track, doing an Alexander Albon, trying to just get the job done, but Ben holding on fantastically at the moment. Tom97 comes home in P5. He's going to be absolutely ecstatic with that race result for him, as we're going to have Lando Norris come home in P6. Benjamin Daly really trying to defend from Tyrrell Limitless, as they both come across the line now, and it looks like Ben is just about going to hold on to Caddy. No! Tyrrell Limitless gets it through penalties. Ben finishes in P8. Then we've got Simon Weigang just coming around the final corner now. And Esteban Gutierrez looks like he is probably going to get the last points position. Yes, he is, because Courtois has already finished the race. Esteban Gutierrez, from starting right at the back of the field, finishes in P10. And wow, what an end to the race that was, Matt.
Fascinating. It would have been good to have some sort of live penalty counter, because there were so many as they all came across the line. But fantastic drive from, obviously, Danny Berezne at the front. I think my standout was Tom97, who had a fantastic qualifying and then finished up in P5, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, battles up and down the field, and that's what we like to see. F1 Esports drivers, you've got real-life racing drivers, you've got content creators, and you've just got a few plebs as well. It's awesome.
Tom97 doing what you basically said at the start of the stream. Be consistent, keep it clean, keep your nose out of everyone else's business, and you will get a good result. And there he did. He finished in P5. Lando Norris as well, great result for him. Started P19 on the grid, worked his way up into P6. If anyone was watching his stream instead of this one, I mean, not too happy about that. You should have been watching ours, but you would have had an absolute fantastic race watching on board with Lando Norris, and I don't blame you for watching that one. Going through the actual race standings then, because obviously all the penalties that came through. Formula Danny, as Daniel Berezne finishes the race and gets the race win here, so Jarno Opmeer in second. Then we have Hypers in third. James Baldwin finishes today's race in fourth, with Tom97, a great performance from him in P5. Lando Norris from 19th finishes in P6, with Tyrrell Limitless just getting Benjamin Daly at the line in P7, with Tiamat Marduk in 8th. Then we have Simon Weigang in 9th, with Esteban Gutierrez getting the final points position. Thibaut Courtois, unfortunately, not getting into the points here today. Great performance from him, though, in P11, with Super GT in 12th. Jimmy Broadbent finishes today in 13th, with Ryan Tavita in 14th. Stoffel Van Dorn, he had a really good start, but unfortunately got held up in a lot of battles. Finishes way down in P15. Aarava had a great battle with Sasha Fenestraz. He finishes in 15th. Then you have, Aarav in 16th, Sasha in 17th. Louis Delatraz, great kahunas on him, but unfortunately finishes down in 18th, with WillNE in 19th. Not finishing last, which is what we like to see, Matt. And finally rounding out the order was AR12 Gaming. What a race.